What was the creepiest thing you witnessed that made you believe in supernatural stuff? Please subscribe, leave a like, comment and share the video to help the channel. I was riding my bicycle down a narrow path. Maybe 30 meters in front of me was an elderly woman also on a bike. I was going fast and catching up to her quickly. I was a couple of meters from passing her when the path took a right turn and she was out of my sight for a second. I should have been right behind her after I too had taken the right turn. So imagine my surprise when she had just vanished. There was an open field to the left, a highly fenced off area with no gates to the right and one straight road ahead of us. No trace of her anywhere. I know the area well and there is no way she could have been hidden anywhere. This woman just went poof and it puzzles me to this day. I wouldn't call it creepy necessarily, just odd. Obligatory background story. My brother passed away a few years back. When my mom and I would visit his grave, a small pinwheel she'd put out there would spin. My mom swore that it would spin any time she'd visit. I never disagreed, as it would be rude to do so. But I didn't believe in anything like that. However, recently, I went to visit him, and I guess I was feeling bitter and cynical. So I said something along the lines of "I'm not an idiot. I know that thing will spin no matter what. You're not here anymore." Mind you, it was windy outside, and the thing just stopped spinning. Just stopped completely. I was shocked and cried for a little bit. I have no idea what it meant, or if I'm thinking about it too hard. At the last house we lived in, when the bed in the master bedroom was set up a certain way, some nights it felt like a cat or small dog would jump up and settle in one particular spot toward the foot of the bed. I didn't think too much of it, but jokingly mentioned having a ghost cat to my husband one time, only to find out he had been feeling the exact same thing in the same spot. We see of his schedule we slept at different times. If one has to have a ghost, a sleepy pet ghost is a good choice. Hearing a gruff man's voice next to my bed when playing video games with my then current girlfriend. We both heard it. We both lost our shit. I was 21, looking for a new apartment/room to rent, and had an appointment in the morning to meet a guy I found on Craigslist who was renting out a room. I told my mom that I had an appointment the next day. That night I had a dream that I went to the house. He led me inside and showed me the room. And then when I walked past the stairwell that led to a basement, he pushed me down the stairs. Then he tied me to a bed. I woke up sweaty and obviously freaked out. I looked at my phone and my mom had sent me a text a few minutes before saying "I'm having a weird feeling. Don't go to that guy's house, he's bad." Not sure if supernatural like ghosts or just intuition, but it certainly felt like something was keeping me from going there. I didn't go obviously. I was in my room and headed to my parents' bedroom. From the edge of my vision I saw my brother sitting on the couch, so I kept walking. Then I remembered my brother doesn't have a shaved head. I looked back and there was no one there. I took a picture of my parents with one of their friends' phones while we were all playing cards one night. Looking at the screen to line up the shot I saw nothing weird. As soon as I took the pic, an old man in a flannel sweater was standing behind them staring out the window. I lived in the middle of nowhere in Ireland growing up. A friend and I were camping outside in our field. We hear this singing in the middle of the night. My friend unzips the tent and looks out. He wakes me up and tells me to come look. There in the middle of the field is a woman. Pure white skin, blonde hair, dress made of some really light flowing fabric, tunic-like. She's walking slowly across the field singing in Gaelic. I still have everything burned in my mind, from how she looked to how she sounded. Her voice was light, but yet kind of raspy. Everything about her was ephemeral. My friend wanted to go talk to her. I pulled him back into the tent and we ended up hiding in our sleeping bags till the next morning. I'm almost 100% sure it was a fee. We were too far away from other people for it to have been a random person. Another one is I saw a ball of light over a nearby field another night. It hovered about 10 feet off the ground and then sped off over the field ridiculously fast. Then it disappeared into a hedge. No idea what it was. I'm a skeptic when it comes to ghosts, aliens, monsters etc. But I'm a believer when it comes to the fae. Those fuckers are real. And they ain't the little Tinkerbell like things. Fae are tall, beautiful and dangerous. A patient walked out of his ICU room after he had just died and looked around. Out of my peripheral vision. When I turned my head he was gone. Edit. More details since this is my most upvoted comment to date. The patient coded right as I got on shift and died within the hour, so I wasn't especially tired. He came in as a doe, most likely homeless, so there was no family in the room. I was the nurse, so I was sitting close by, didn't see anyone else go in there, nor would anyone have a reason to except me. The morgue hadn't arrived yet cause post-mortem care was not done. He was staying in the room known to all the nurses on the unit as haunted because the call light would go off or the bed alarm would go off frequently when it was empty. Out of the periphery of my vision I can't be sure, but it did not look like he was wearing a gown. It looked like he had on street clothes. He was a young guy with a big long blonde beard, so it was an easily identifiable attribute. Before I would joke along that room was haunted, now I believe it is. When I was very young, I had an imaginary friend named Samantha. I vividly remember playing dolls and stuff with her and all that kinda stuff. One day when I was like 5 or so, I asked her why she would never be at my mom's. My parents are divorced and have been forever, and Sam's responded with something along the lines, I can't, your mother will remember me. Don't talk to her about me, and me being young and stupid was just like, okay, and went back to playing with dolls. So after a while I remember this when I was out of my imaginary friend stage and I talked to my mom about it. She got terrified and made me shut up right then and there. After a while longer, we finally talked about it. In high school my mom had a friend who committed suicide. Her name was Samantha. After that I've always believed in supernatural stuff. Edit. People seemed quite interested in this story. I have plenty of other paranormal stories if anyone is interested. Pretty tame but weird. My dad wasn't home, and it was just me, my sister, and my mom. This was during the day and the way our living room was arranged you could see into the dining room. The dining room light was off, but out of nowhere it turned on. All 3 of us were in the living room and no one else was home. We are like WTF. After a few minutes it turned off. We are like WTF again. It happened a few times and my mom commented that it was her deceased brother. Died as a teenager, I did not know him. Looking over us. My sister said something like, well, tell him to stop that, and the light immediately turned back off and didn't turn back on again. There is probably some kind of more reasonable explanation, but it was weird and kinda creepy. My husband and I were house shopping and were in this 100+ year old house with a realtor. We entered through the front door. Nobody was there but the 3 of us and nobody was living there at the time. We looked around quickly, spending no more than 3 to 4 minutes before deciding we weren't interested. When we got to the front door to leave, there was a big rocking chair blocking it on the inside. My husband moved it without saying anything. I said to the broker, how did that chair get there? She just shook her head indicating she didn't want to discuss it, and we all walked to the car in silence. I have a version of sleep paralysis, so as terrifying as it can be, I'm generally pretty used to waking up to seeing things. I was on a road trip with my friend and we were staying in a hotel off of Route 66. I went to sleep before her and she stayed up to watch television on her phone. We turned the lights off and I started to doze off. Every so often, I'd wake up to her panning her phone light to the area in between our beds. After a little while, she got up to go to the bathroom. I woke up once or twice to see a dark figure of a woman standing in between our 2 beds looking at me. Being exhausted from driving and prone to hallucinating when I sleep, I thought nothing of it. A bit later, I woke up to the sound of a door slamming and my friend crossing the room and climbing into bed. She was laying directly on her side, stiff as a board, staring at me. I yelled, "What the fuck, Mary?" and turned on the light, but there was no one there. My scream brought Mary out of the bathroom though, and I just told her I had a nightmare. Later that night, I woke up again to see the woman standing in between our beds, but this time, she moved over to the desk in the room, seemingly writing something. I quietly said Mary's name, but before I could say anything else, Mary cut me off, asking, "Landon Fontaine, is that you?" We turned on the lights and stared at each other for a minute. She started to ask me what I'd seen, but I cut her off and told her that we were both too tired to get on the road at 3 in the morning and we'd already paid for the room. We slept with the lights on in the same bed for the rest of the night. The next morning as we were driving away, we compared notes. She said she kept flashing her phone light because she kept seeing the shadow of a woman standing between our beds. It freaked her out so much that she went into the bathroom to watch TV with the lights on. She saw the woman walk over to the desk as well. We now both have tattoos commemorating the terrifying road trip from hell. Edit. Obligatory. Thank you for the gold, kind stranger. And thanks to everyone for my most upvoted comment. To answer a few commonly asked questions. 1. Our tattoos both say knock on wood with a little 66 underneath. Several things were cursed on this trip, our ghostly friend being only one. So we kept saying it wouldn't get any worse, knock on wood. By the end, the phrase almost became like an omen. Anytime we said it, more bad things would happen. So we got it as a joke. 2. Sorry to disappoint, but we didn't check the desk. We were both so freaked out and ready to leave, we did not want to know what she had to say. 3. Just a little extra info. This was a chain hotel in the middle of nowhere. During the night, I kept telling myself there was no way this chain hotel was haunted. We googled it later out of curiosity, and several people have reported seeing things in that hotel location, I guess due to its proximity to Route 66 and possibly also the locale city/state known for displacing native people. I have tons of crazy sleep paralysis stories and now I wonder if some of them are actually more real than I think they are. Will forever regret watching Insidious. Please subscribe, leave a like, comment and share the video to help the channel.